In this video, I'm going to show you how you can get 10, 15, or 20 leads that are interested in what you have to offer and to sell, coming to you all on autopilot. The system that I will talk about here today is helping my client put out €1 in and produce 3, 4, 5, 6 euros out. And it personally helped me produce between 5 and 7 ROAS. So again, put €1 in, get 5, 6, 7 out. Because right now, it's never been easier to give Facebook more money and distribute your piece of content to the right people. It's not about targeting on the back end. That's the easy part. The hard part is creating the right creative and implementing it in the right way, because there's many different ways of how you can run a funnel, how you can get leads. But I found this one to be the most efficient. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. We're going to achieve this goal by using what I call audience building ads. Now, before I even break down the strategy and all the ins and outs, there's a few mindset things or advertising principles that you have to consider before you launch these pieces of content that will bring you leads and build your audience. The number one thing to understand is the purpose of audience building ads. It's only meant to bring people into your world. Once they are in your world, your other pieces of content and your sales process is meant to build that trust, that likability, and deliver the right information to the lead or prospect, because people only buy from people that they know, like, and trust, and they can only make that decision when they have the right information. So while your audience building ad brings people into your world through Instagram, the rest of your content, highlights, stories, pin post, is meant to build context really quick and deliver the right information. So it could be pieces of content like who I am, what you do, your offer, the process of your offer, results, social proof. There's this popular rule, 7-11-4 rule, that a lot of marketers preach. And while it is true, the more time people will spend with you, by the way, if you don't know, the 7-11-4 rule is research done by Google that shows people make buying decisions after they consume, on average, 7 hours of your content. They have 11 touch points for different platforms, 4 different platforms, right? So touch points in DMs, touch points with comment section, watching your Instagram content, watching your YouTube content, email, all of these things contribute to that 7-11-4 rule. So you have to understand that these ads is to bring people into your content ecosystem. Once they are in that ecosystem, your other pieces of content start contributing to that 7-11-4 rule. So with that in mind, there's a few principles for the ad itself. Number one, you want to speak to your ideal target audience. You are paying for distribution, right? You're paying for distribution of the content. It's going to be distributed to your ideal target audience. So you want to speak directly to them. You want to disqualify people that you don't want. There is going to be a bleed through. Not everybody is going to be your ideal client. I'd say 80% of people that will come through are your bread and butter clients, but the 20% going to be your ideal clients. So you want to speak to that 20% and disqualify people that are not your ideal clients, because you don't want to bring people into your ecosystem that are, I would say, like junk traffic. Your cost per lead might go up. However, your return on ad spend is going to be way higher in the long run as well. Very likely that your client's going to get also better results and they will stay with you for longer. The next thing to consider is that the best content doesn't look like ads. It looks like a valuable piece of content, calling out your ideal target audience. On average, a good piece of content gets viewed about 10, 11, 12 seconds, an Instagram reel. So you want to have a call to action for people to follow you within the first 10 seconds. So the way you would structure it is you call people out, you tell them to follow you, go through your content, and then you can lead with more value, more social proof, more benefits, more of what you help people to achieve. However, your hook has to be strong. You have to be able to capture attention really quick so that people just don't scroll away. That's the most important thing. So 80% of your effort should go into the first, I'd say, 10 seconds. Because psychologically, once people commit to watching your reel, your piece of content, they are very likely going to watch it in full, or they will take action when you tell them to take action, which is follow your account. So they become a lead, and then you can get them into the sales process. The only action that you want people to take, by the way, you don't want to have multiple call to actions. You just want people to follow you. That's the only thing that you want them to do. It's very popular to tell them to go through your content, right? When they follow you, they go through your content, they binge your content, they watch it, they build context, they get the right information, then they will be more primed specifically for your offer. The next question that I get a lot is, how much should you spend? So generally, a cost per follower can vary depending on the industry, on the niche. That cost per follower is going to be between 1 to 10 euros. Like the highest that I've seen was 10. The cheapest that I've got myself was about 47 cents or something along the lines of that. However, again, you can quickly judge your ads performance, your audience building ads performance, by the type of people that follow you. Once they follow you, you can start a conversation, or your setter starts a conversation, and you'll be able to get context really quick in terms of who they are, what they do, are they even qualified for what you're trying to offer. But let's say you spend some money, you get some followers, however, you haven't closed any clients yet. Most people, what they do here is they kind of panic and they shut the ads off. You have to remember that the stuff or the actions that you take today, specifically when it comes to marketing actions, you will probably not going to see results within 30 days, 60 days, sometimes even 90 days. It takes time for people to build that context, that trust, that connection with you. There's that 7-11 4 rule. It takes time for that to happen. However, the time can be compressed if you have the right pieces of content, specifically that deliver the right information, that compresses that time frame. That's why, for example, having YouTube videos is very important, because the more time people spend with you, the more value you deliver for them, the more likely you are the only option for them to solve the problem that you're solving for. By the way, if you want me to help you implement this system, just DM me hybrid on Instagram and we'll see if it's a good fit for us to work together. Now, the stuff that I talked about here is level 1. What I like to do is I like to build context. If somebody doesn't know you and you show up on their feed, they most likely are not going to take action that you want them to take, because we evolved in such a way where we want to conserve energy. We don't want to take action if it's not an urgency as well. So what I like to do is to set up a content funnel before I even ask people to take action. And the content that is most contextual, that delivers the right information prior for asking people to take action, is going to win. So let's say I'm Nike. I'm going to sell a shoe for running, for marathon. I want people to buy that shoe. So what kind of information do people need to have before they can make a decision to buy my specific shoe? If I think big picture, there's a few ways to approach it. But let's say I'm targeting somebody who's training for marathon. So my pieces of content, my initial piece of content would be how to train for marathon. And I would just deliver that, just pure value, no call to actions, just here's how to train for marathon. 1 minute, 2 minute, maybe 5 minute video, depends, right? There's a bit of context there as well and nuance. Let's say I have a reel, how to train for a marathon. If somebody watches 15 seconds of that video, they are way more engaged than an average user on Instagram, which means that I then can make an audience of everybody who's watched 15 seconds of that video, and then I can retarget them. I can serve them contextual other piece of content. And that second contextual piece of content could be more about marathons. Now, I have no idea about marathons. I don't run. I didn't pick the best example. Let's keep it real. In those pieces of content, I would talk about importance of specific shoes. And then once people consume, let's say 50% of that video, again, could be 15, 30, maybe even 60 seconds. The longer, the better, the more qualified they are. In the final piece of content, I could ask them to take an action. So I could sell them the shoe, or I could ask them to follow me on my profile so I can help them more with marathon training, and then maybe upsell them the shoes. It's a bit all over the place, but you understand. Everything is about psychology. The way I see most gurus advertise is that they just kind of go straight for the kill, and that's okay. Like, it can work. However, over time, cost per lead goes up more. You need to film more ads. You need to change them up more. So it's a lot more effort. However, if you lead with value, if you build certain context and you deliver certain information for people to need to know, you can then get them to take action quickly and buy from you even quicker. So that's like the next level. However, if you're just starting out, I would just recommend setting up a few ads, run them at a low budget, see which ones convert the best, which ones bring the better leads. Then you can scale those. And if you really want to take it to the next level, then you can start implementing the content funnel, which essentially builds trust, builds context, and compresses the sales process or the sales cycle per se. If you enjoyed this video, you should probably check this one next because YouTube is recommending it for you.